Is it end of NATO? Well, this is no longer a speculation. This is a geopolitical earthquake, and that too in slow motion. You're watching TimesXP. My name is Dhritiyatri, and we are talking about this because this is not a story. It is bigger than a headline, bigger than Trump, bigger than Greenland. First of all, why Greenland matters so much? Well, Greenland may look empty on the map, but beneath that ice lie rare earth minerals, oil, gas, in fact, untapped resources that the world is racing for. As Arctic ice melts, new sea routes are opening, routes that can cut shipping time between Asia, Europe, and even America by weeks. So basically, whosoever controls Greenland, that person, that country controls the Arctic gateway. And in modern geopolitics, control equals power, right? Secondly, America is already there. The US runs Thule Air Base in Greenland, one of its most critical missile defense and early warning sites. It watches Russian missiles, it tracks space activities, it protects the North America. So when Trump talks about Greenland, it isn't curiosity, this is strategy. Now comes the Trump factor here, the Trump card basically. Donald Trump has openly said before that we need Greenland. Back then, Denmark laughed. The world, well, they thought it was a joke. But today, after renewed military actions abroad, after a far more aggressive American posture, Europe isn't joking anymore. Denmark's Prime Minister broke diplomatic silence. Made Fred Eriksson, she didn't use any soft language, she didn't hide behind protocols. She warned that any American move against Greenland would shatter NATO. That's right. It would destroy decades of trust and shared security. It would set a dangerous precedent. Allies turning into targets. But why is this so terrifying for entire Europe? Because NATO is built on one promise. An attack on one is an attack on all. But what happens when the threat comes from inside the alliance, and that too, the biggest factor? What happens when the world's strongest NATO member pressurizes a weaker NATO ally? Well, that's a nightmare scenario right now being discussed in European capitals, quietly, urgently, and very, very seriously. And Greenland itself. Greenland is not a colony, it is a self-governing territory. Its people have repeatedly said that Greenland is not for sale. Yet their future is being debated in Washington, Copenhagen, and Brussels. And that too, without them being in the room. Europe has rallied behind Denmark, France, Germany, in fact, Nordic states. The message is clear here. Borders are not negotiable. Allies are not bargaining chips. But words will be enough or not, because the world has changed now. The rules are being bent. Power politics is back. Military threat, their strength is replacing diplomacy now. And yes, smaller nations fear becoming collateral damage here. This isn't just about NATO's survival anymore. It's a dangerous new idea that is spreading that might makes right. If Greenland falls under pressure today, what stops somebody else tomorrow? One island, ladies and gentlemen, one warning, one alliance on the edge. The Arctic is no longer frozen, and neither is global geopolitics. Watch this space, because the next move, it could really rewrite the whole history of the entire world.